Hey everyone, welcome back to Moody Movie Reactions. I am here with the top 10 list, as you saw from the title. And you know what it is? This is my top 10 scary movies. I think that there is a distinction made between scary and horror. When I think of scary, I think of, ghosts and jump scares and that sort of thing. Movies like Woman in Black, which is fantastic, or The Others. Whereas when I think of something that is horror, I think more of like that Texas Chainsaw Massacre, even The Substance that is out now that I would say is horror, without fit in that body horror category. The movies that I got are the movies that I would watch over and over again. And I do have a top 10. I was asked to do a top 10 favorite movies that is coming out, but why not, jump in with this season here? Like I said, there are a few movies that I left off the list. I think that The Ring deserves to be there. I think just the overall tension, just the kind of the forbidding nature of that movie. I think that movies like Wreck should probably have been on my list. Alien did not make my list. It was there, and then I had to cut it because I like the sci-fi aspects of Alien and the whole series a little bit more. So anyway, I'm also going to try not to be completely film snob about this. These are the movies that I would watch over and over again, the movies that I love. I wanted to put Pan's Labyrinth on this list. I really, really did. It was there at number 10 for me, but when I thought about it, I think Guillermo del Toro's other film, this is number 10, Shape of Water, I love even more. Just something about that movie just really resonated with me. I went back, I read the book, I watched the movie several times. I actually freaking love that. And there's just so much about that movie to enjoy, at least for me. I think it looks different. It is a different sort of story. It is a kind of a love story. It is kind of gory. It is, not necessarily scary, but I think it fits into that horror category. And Pan's Labyrinth definitely could have been there, but maybe I've got a love affair with Merman. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Number nine, this is crazy. Monster Squad. This is a movie that I've loved since I was a kid. I don't know, was it 85 or 86 or whatever it was that it came out. And when other people wanted to watch The Goonies, I just wanted to watch Monster Squad. I wanted to watch it over and over again. I quote still lines from that movie. Come on, guys, don't be a chicken shit. Wolfman's got nards. I think it's just a fantastic, fun movie. Though, remember that this is a PG movie. It's 1980s PG. So if you're thinking about watching it with your kids, just be aware that there is going to be some language in there. Otherwise, I think it is a good kids scary movie, right? The next number eight, I'm gonna put Lost Boys. Again, this is a movie that defined my childhood. A movie from the late '80s, I believe it was. I don't remember the exact year, but it's got the two Corys in it, and it's got Kiefer Sutherland. And again, these are lines in this movie that I can just quote over and over again. That's not rice you're eating, Michael. That's maggots. Like I say that all the time. It's so stupid, but it is absolutely iconic to me. And so that's going to come in at number eight because as a movie that I own and I would watch over and over again. After that, I'm going to actually come up with a movie called Shadow of the Vampire. This movie is starring Willem Dafoe and John Malkovich, and the premise of this is sort of a filming of Nosferatu. I don't think a lot of people have seen this, and it's weird. I am a vampire snob. I think that I hate so many vampire movies, and now there have been a trillion of them, and mostly they're bad. So they have to be done exactly right. This is the kind of fictional telling of the story of the making of Nosferatu. John Malkovich is a director. He tries to, I know, he hires basically a real vampire. And of course, shit goes wrong. Willem Dafoe, in all of his cheesiness and all of his overacting, is absolutely perfect in this. I love this movie. I've watched it over and over again. I would watch it over and over again. And that is a theme for this list. So, what are we at? Seven? Yeah, seven is Shadow of the Vampire. Number six, I'm going to go with Psycho. Again, I said I didn't want to be film snob, but I think that this movie is so iconic. This movie I watched when I was probably way too young. Speaking of which, I saw Poltergeist at the theaters. Like, God damn it, parents, what the hell were you thinking? But then here I am talking about scary movies, so maybe it worked out. But God, that movie was fucking scary. It did not make my list. But Psycho is a movie that, again, is just there's so much about it. Even just the idea of the flushing toilet, the way he's able to portray the killings and have us know that something horrific happened, something scary happened, something troubling, and yet it isn't gory. We're working in a very different time. There were different rules for filmmaking, but I think that this is a movie that is a classic. It holds up. to the end of time. That final scene, I think, with Norman sitting in the holding cell and looking at the fly, just absolutely brilliant. Anthony Perkins is amazing. I think all the other cycles are pretty much terrible. And the remake, the Vince Vaughn one, and I forget who directed it, with Anne Heche is in it. That movie was fucking terrible. That was a travesty. But if you have not seen the original, and I can't imagine if you haven't seen it, please go see Psycho. Next on my list is here's actually I've got Pan's Labyrinth on this. I said I wasn't going to have it on, um, but I just kind of subbed it in because this is a movie that is artistic. It is brilliant. It is scary. It is horrific. It's a tale of a young girl. It's the Spanish Civil War. It's kind of got politics and fantasy and everything in it. And the image of Pan of the satyr with the eyes in his hands. I mean, that is just iconic. Yeah, I kind of threw that one in there, and I'm sticking with it. There we are. Next on my list, I'm going to go with Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead is just Simon Pegg is absolutely brilliant. He's hilarious. I have loved pretty much every movie that he has done. Nick Frost, I think, is a complete dickbag. I've seen and heard and whatever interviews with him. He's kind of an ass, unfortunately, because he seems like he'd be a really cool dude. But anyways, I don't want to go into all that. This is a movie that, again, there are lines that you can quote. It has iconic moments. That scene in the bar, I think, is just absolutely brilliant, and just the way the whole movie. I really, really sick of zombie movies. I just can't really do them anymore. But this is a movie again that I could still watch. Like I'll probably go watch this after I make this video because it's absolutely brilliant. Love it. Um, from Shaun of the Dead, I said it again. This is going back to like Psycho. I'm gonna go with The Shining. I don't know if you can get a more iconic or a better just horror and scary movie. I did see this movie years later again in the theater, the re-release. I went to an art house film, and it was weird to watch it because by that time Jack Nicholson had become kind of a parody of himself, right? So watching it in the theater, people were legitimately laughing when, here's Johnny, because it's Jack doing Jack. But if you take this film at its core, I don't know if you can get a better, just overall sense of dread and the building of the hotel and the falling into madness and all of that. Shelley Duvall is absolutely great in this movie. The kid is creepy. The two twin girls, just everything about this movie is absolutely fantastic. At number two, this was a real toss up. I wasn't sure where I was going to go. And I'm going to go with The Devil's Rejects. And I think that this is one of my all time favorite movies. However, I'm not sure I'm going to put it on my top 10 list. It's weird. I think that Rob Zombie is an excellent filmmaker who makes really shitty movies. I think that two of the worst movies I've ever seen are his second Halloween movie and The Monsters. The Monsters is atrocious. Sometimes he buys too much into his own hype. But the House of a Thousand Corpses, which was okay. I mean, it was really just a ripoff of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Uh, but there's a scene in there where the sheriff comes in and he discovers the bodies in the shed or in the barn, and it kind of goes into this silent film, and you've got just this very light music playing, and it's brilliant. It's beautiful. It's artistic, and it's also horrific. Like, right, it really sticks with you. And I think we see more of that in Devil's Rejects. I think that he kind of tones down a little bit about the chicken fucking and stuff like that. But the final, say, 20 to 30 minutes of that movie of Devil's Rejects is absolutely brilliant. It gets more away from him mimicking and copying other films and more into what he wants to do, which is fantastic. Even though, again, I think, oh, what was it, the 33 or whatever the hell it was, 33 from Hell. No, it was Three from Hell. Anyways, all the rest of them are pretty much, unfortunately, just kind of schlocky, cheesy garbage. But Devil's Rejects, I think, stands apart on its own. It's a brilliant film. I love it. My number one is Cabin in the Woods. And I've got a lot of kind of funny horror movies on this because I think horror movies are movies that, at least for me, I don't really usually watch them over and over again. Like once you've got the jump scares, once you've kind of figured things out, so it needs to have something extra, something special. And I think that in that it's the Merman, right? Like, I mean, the Merman, I think, really encapsulates this entire movie. There's just kind of the zany, crazy nature of it while also being scary. I know Joss Whedon is a problem, and I've met Charisma Carpenter, and she's beautiful and amazing, and I respect her. Um, so I kind of hate promoting Whedon, um, but at the same time, it's a damn good movie that I love, and I've watched it with my kids. You know, they're teenagers, whatever. Right? So, um, it's fun, it's crazy. I love everything about it. Even now watching it, and when she goes to make out with the wolf head, it's I know what's going to happen, but there's still I can feel that tension rising. So yeah, that is my number one favorite scary movie, Cabin in the Woods. There we are, lock it in. And I got a couple movies coming up here. I will see you all after. Please let me know what your top 10 are, what you think of my list. I know that there's so many. I thought I can't come up with 10. And then I ended up with dozens and dozens that I wanted to put on here. And I know there's some that I missed. But, anyways, these are my favorites. The ones that I said are not maybe the best, but I would watch over and over again. So I thank you all. I appreciate it. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you after a movie soon.